just about anything you want to know about it. Bill's been there, done that, and knows the answer. I told you he's like a dog with a bone, and this is his passion in life, and he's determined to see this through. Thank goodness there are people in this world like Bill who are prepared to give up their time and lead the charge. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker tonight is the chairman of the North Queensland Civil Construction Association. Phil Cassell is the owner and managing director of the Eco Group of companies, which is involved in civil construction, mining, automotive repairs, multimedia and advertising, hospitality and accommodation industries in North Queensland regions. Did I miss anything? You're not in real estate. I think that's a good thing. He's a 38-year veteran of self-employment, which is really something in this day and age, and has recently started and is the current president of the North Queensland Civil Construction Association. The association is a membership association representing the civil construction industry from Mackay to Torres Strait. Phil sits on several state and federal boards around business and training in Australia and has been influential in many government policy changes over the past 15 years. He's a local family man with huge interest in developing business opportunities in the northern and regional areas of Queensland. He's an avid believer that the government spending in the regions requires closer scrutiny and greater parliamentary representation. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me in welcoming Phil Cassell.
Well, thanks very much for taking the time to come here tonight, and thanks very much for that lovely introduction. It makes you feel a bit special when you get invited to come and talk on new things and with different people, but believe me, I'm not special in any way. I'm just a normal person that lives in North Queensland with 2 eyes, 2 ears for now, same as you guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight, but I do want to take up some of your time later, because I want to be in your thoughts when you think about some of this stuff later. So tonight I'll be fairly quick. What I want to do tonight is give you a case example of how change can happen. And that's through this North Queensland Civil Construction Association we started. To give you a quick background, I was a member of a state organisation that represented the civil construction industry. I was their regional chairman. I was on their board of directors for quite some time. And basically I was referred to as the hillbilly from the north when I went to the Brisbane meetings. That was it. They had a representative up here in North Queensland which sort of ticked the box and made them feel all warm and fuzzy on board night, but they had no real interest, in my opinion, in anything to do with regional Queensland. So we had a lot of I guess government and business issues to deal with within our industry. There was late payments, there was all sorts of contractual issues, there was a whole heap of highs and lows in the industry, so boom and bust. Lots and lots of issues that really didn't get much attention down there at that boardroom in Brisbane. So we decided the best thing to do would be to form our own industry organisation. So I went to work on it about 3 or 4 years ago, slowly, like tonight, just talking to a few people, finding out what's going on, what their issues are, what they think the solution to those issues are. And then 11 weeks ago, we actually incorporated the association. So in the last 10 weeks, our membership now from Mackay to Torres Strait is almost half the membership of that previous organisation I was a member of, who have been around 35, 40 years, something like that. Every day we are attracting more and more and more members to our organisation. And the reason that we do that is we had a lot of competition from the south that we couldn't compete with. We had a lot of competition from the south that had, I guess, political connections or political influence maybe, something like that. That caused us to have to compete with these big companies, and we simply weren't winning the government jobs. We weren't getting the development projects through. We weren't getting the infrastructure money that we needed. Now, drive down the Bruce Highway, you pretty well see what goes on. Now, a lot of the roads, traffic jams, we're a small town here, we have traffic jams, we have potholes, we have all sorts of issues. Try and get to Cape York, try and live a day in their life. It became extremely difficult. And as contractors who built those roads, we just couldn't get our tenders in, we couldn't win our tenders. All those big projects went to southern companies. We had a company from the most arid state and the most arid country in the world come to the wet tropics and open up 4 kilometres of road at the end of November. And we just shook our head and said, well, why on earth would you award a contract to build a road up here in the wet tropics to someone from the desert? So what do? You can whinge about it, you can squawk, you can do nothing, or you can make a change. And that comes with just a conscious decision to make a change. I'm not here to sell this program or this campaign or political issues or anything else. All I'm here to do tonight is to leave in your memory that it is possible to make change. We thought we would get a lot of backlash and a lot of trouble when we started our North Queensland Association from down south. Now, I heard today they actually want to advertise in the same magazine that we advertise in now. They want to compete with us because they see us, not as a threat, I don't think, but they see us as a whole new thing in the north, a whole new, I guess, brand of association, a whole new group of people who look after us. We don't want to be given the jobs. We want the right to have a fair shot at those jobs. And we want our expertise in the tropics or wherever we are, up here in the north, to be considered when government go for best value for money or best outcome for the people. We didn't see it. That's why we started our own association. Now, I've had all the major parties at a state level and 2 of the major parties at a federal level want to sit down and discuss what we think and where we're going and what we believe should be the solution, because our industry is billions and billions of dollars. Our charter, or our direction, is to make sure that the people of the state of Queensland, and in particular the people of the state of North Queensland, are delivered those projects by the local people who know what we're doing, how we're doing, what our influences are, what the impacts are up here. Basically, they want the projects delivered by people who live a day in the life. That's all it is. Now, some of you are probably committed to this project, some of you, this Brisbane project, some of you are probably doubtful, some of you may just be sitting there going, geez, I hope he hurries up so I can get out of here. And that happens. But if you want to make change, you can. We did. We wanted to make a change. And believe it or not, we don't go around bashing governments or people or anyone else, but we do try and come with good economic reasons and good social reasons why we are now the North Queensland Civil Construction Association, to deliver those projects that we think we need here in the north for the people in the north, because we live a day in the north. So that was the purpose of me coming here tonight, was to give you a case study of how this can work. And you might sit there now and think you're staring at a mountain. We certainly did, but 11 weeks later, we're nearly half the size of the other organisation that's been around 30 or 40 years. Once you show that the direction is true and the direction is good and it's honest and it's moral and all that stuff that we love to think happens all the time, pretty quick, the general population and the general, I guess, stakeholders in that area start to open up their mind and consider, is what we had acceptable and can we get by with that, or does taking that first step lead to something bigger and better? So I hope I leave that thought in your mind, because our association by Christmas time, we believe, may well be as big as the one in Brisbane, and by the end of the financial year bigger, which means we will be the biggest civil construction advocacy association or group in Queensland. So real possibilities can happen if you just simply keep an open mind about change, and if you have a focus about wanting that type of thing. Ours is a case study how it works. So anyway, I'm glad I could share that with you, and I hope that stays in your mind when you have doubts about what you want to do or you don't want to do or what you think. Just keep an open mind that it can be a real possibility if we get the members on board. So thank you.
Thank you, Phil. I think that's a terrific message that, you know, we do need to keep in our mind that these things aren't possible. You know, you can submerge yourself in the difficulties of creating change, but as Phil has just said, it is possible. He described himself as an ordinary man. I think we all are. We're all ordinary people. We all get into our pants one leg at a time. Nothing special, but we recognise an injustice when we see it, and we look for change, and that's what the nucleus here tonight can be the start of that change.